Hello, my wonderful viewers, and welcome to another episode of Betty Adams Overanalyzes. Today, we are going to take a fully spoilery look at Kaiju number 8, chapter 95. This chapter was an emotional roller coaster for me. See, I think we have gotten a bit spoiled over the past several chapters in this battle arc. I think we forgot what the core of this manga really is, which is Matsumoto digging his artistic knife deep into the insecurities festering away in the hearts of all of us older manga fans. It started off with our frustration with not having achieved our goals when we expected to. Continued with the frustration of finding ourselves with few friends as our childhood bonds frayed and snapped. Then the realization that we can make new friends, carve new paths in life that will give us not the elation of youth, but the satisfaction, the meaning of maturity. More importantly, we can go back and renew those old friendships that we thought were lost, and not going back to what they were when we were children, but moving forward as adults. Now, Matsumoto is moving on to a new painful thing, how once we accept that meaningful, mature path, we must face the crushing weight of adult responsibility and pray that it doesn't end up making us unjustly resentful towards those who no longer have that responsibility, making sure that we don't resent the next generation. This chapter wasn't short about a cause of emotional damage. Now, it's time we get fully back into the spoilers. So I'm going to give you a chance to click away from the spoilers by reminding you to go check out the links below the video to get yourself a copy of Humans Are Weird, Let's Work It Out, the third book in the series. Short science fiction stories from the perspective of aliens about this weird new mammal that just joined the galactic community. If that sounds like something you're interested, go check it out. But now, spoilers. Okay, as we're getting started here, I want you to recall a mental image. An image from way back in chapter 1. Kafka has just been attacked by the weird kaiju. Kafka's rescued Reno. Reno's rescued him in return. One of Kafka's legs has been shattered. He's just lying there on the ground in agony. Kafka is quite literally a man down. And everyone knows you don't kick a man while he's down. Then Mina shows up and kicks him while he's down. Not literally, of course, but this glorious woman is standing there with her giant liger outlined against the full moon, and she just sneers at our hero in disgust. Now, by this point, we know that they were childhood friends. We know that she succeeded, that she's at the top of their desired profession, and he has failed. And she sneers at him in what appears to be disgust. And we all collectively asked, what is wrong with her? Well, now we have our answer. For Mina's entire life, Kafka was there for her. For all intents and purposes, he was her older brother, protecting her, keeping her safe. And he made a promise to her to always be there for her. Whenever a kaiju attacked, he would be standing by her side. Now, there's something interesting I want to point out here. We still don't know whether there is a trace of romance in their relationship. There is absolutely zero evidence one way or another. It's entirely possible from what we've seen in previous chapters that they're actually first cousins. Because when referring to the adults in their life, Kafka refers to mom and the aunties in one of the flashbacks, which totally could be just a respectful way to refer to the other women in his community, so they're not necessarily related, but there's a decent chance they're at least first or second cousins. And yet, we have neither confirmed nor had strictly denied any romance. So they could be literally simply the best of friends, or there might be romantic interest there. We don't know. But anyway, Kafka's always been there for her. There's a chance that Kafka was there for her from the time she was born. And they grow up together, they test together, they study together. Then, Mina passes that all-important second level of the test, and Kafka fails. But he renews his promise. He says, I'm going to keep trying. I will be there for you. Just wait for me. And then, Mina has the weight of the world dropped on her shoulders. She can't wait for him. She is strong enough to be thrust into a position of command too soon, too fast. It's too much for her. She has to make the right choices or people die. She has to be stronger than anyone or her friends suffer. And the one thing, that one more mental support she'd counted on during this entire time isn't there. And Kafka is missing, not because he failed, but because he gave up. He stopped trying. Kafka cheated her out of the moral support she had depended on for as long as she can remember. So, my friends, that is what was wrong with Mina. That is why she resented Kafka so badly. She is not the perfect heroine. She's not a perfect person. The Kaiju Defense Force has presented her as such to the public. They've given her a very set reputation, but she was an 18-year-old girl, a child, and suddenly the weight of the world was on her shoulders. And in a very realistic move, she doesn't react to it the way a perfect shonen heroine should, forgiving and loving. No, she was resented. You lying sneak, you deprived me of the emotional support I needed. Let's do a little mental math together. Mina was 27 at the start of chapter 1. So this is 9 years before that. Kafka is 21, a legal adult. Kakoru's around 10. So when Mina is suddenly being told that she is the future of the Defense Force, Hikari Shinomiya, the greatest female Defense Force member before her, has only been dead for around 2 years. Mina remembers that. Mina would know who Hikari Shinomiya is. Mina would have been one of the civilians most affected by Hikari's death. Mina, Kafka, everyone still has that freak snowstorm. The deaths of over 100 Defense Force officers. The death of the greatest Defense Force officer to go out and fight. It's still fresh in their minds. For them, that snowstorm was as recent, as real as the pandemic is for us if you're watching this in 2023. It is a massive mental scar that shaped their entire lives. When Mina steps up and takes responsibility for all of this, the Defense Force was something that was weak and broken. Mina was the one who had to bring the Defense Force up to the strength we saw it at when the first chapter dropped. Of course, there's all the other members of the Defense Force doing things behind the scenes, but Mina is the new face of the Defense Force, stepping into Hikari Shinomiya's shoes. And those are some big shoes to fill. All that was Mina's responsibility, and she managed it. She did it the entire time, terrified and longing for Kafka to be supporting her, resenting the fact that he wasn't. Then suddenly, there he is. He finally made it. That was the secret behind her smile when Kafka fought and clawed his way to a mere cadet position, then a general officer position in her defense force. And what was he doing to earn that? He was taking a support role. He was behind her, at her back, making sure that her weaknesses, multiple small mobile targets, would not be a threat. That's how he earned his place as an officer, compensating for Mina's very specific weaknesses. This was and it all leads to this chapter, this profoundly satisfying chapter where we finally get the answer to that question: what was Mina's problem? Mina's problem was she was human, and she very naturally resented not getting something she was promised, even if ultimately it wasn't Kafka's fault. But now, on to another issue entirely. That monolith kaiju she's fighting. Matsumoto has put a lot of time and effort, drawn a lot of panels into showing how badly that monolith is suffering. The four faces weep when they attack, and the body is crumbling, losing the sharp edges we saw when it first appeared. But the thing is, the edges were crumbling, the body was falling apart even before the Defense Force had scored a direct hit on it through the shield. So what is going on here? Logically, Kaiju number 8 just failed with this experiment, because remember, as powerful as these numbered Kaiju are, as much as they are Dai Kaiju, they are experiments. Kaiju number 9 is still learning. It is entirely possible, and Matsumoto is just the kind of author who would roll with that kind of realistic detail, that this kaiju is just so poorly put together in order to make it powerful enough to face Mina, that the kaiju, it just tears itself apart either by teleportation or firing its weapons. we don't know how it teleports. Maybe it has to, or inadvertently does, sacrifice some of its mass to teleport, but this looks like this thing's been living in agony. Of course, that leads us to the question of what the twist will be with this kaiju, because even if that wasn't a one-shot kill, Mina has essentially taken the kaiju out of action. It's a dead kaiju floating. And by conventional Shonen Jump logic, the kaiju is going to power up and present an actual challenge for Mina, because we can't have our top warrior just one-shot killing their opponent in the main tourney arc. But we have learned by this point that this is exactly where Matsumoto likes to surprise the audience. There are two major points that suggest that kaiju might not survive this specific encounter, that one blow. First, these fights have been consistently about the Defense Force officer overcoming their hang-ups. And Mina goes into this fight with her hang-up resolved, just like Kafka did. Mina's mental battle came before this physical battle, and when Kafka went into that battle with his issues resolved, he one-shot KO'd that muscle-bound kaiju. There is every chance that the teleporting kaiju is just down for the count. But with Matsumoto, we just can't tell, and that uncertainty, the fact that the end of this one battle is not obvious to the reader, is downright delightful and so rare in a Shonen Jump manga. Matsumoto has set up two clear paths that are equally likely. That this kaiju has something up its sleeve and is going to transform, show a new face, and show a new challenge to Mina, or it's going to die, and Mina's going to switch her attention to supporting the rest of the Defense Force that's in desperate need of help. But what do you think, my wonderful viewers? Is there actually uncertainty in the next beat of this fight? Leave a comment telling me what you theorized below the video. I really, really enjoy getting those long, rambly comments from you guys and hearing all of your theories. Hit that like and subscribe button if you've already subscribed. Check to make sure you're still subscribed, because YouTube will automatically unsubscribe you sometimes. And peace out, my wonderful viewers. Do you love awesome science fiction books? Of course you do. If you check out the links below the video, you can get yourself a copy of Comedy or Tragedy. Humans Are Weird. I have the data. Humans Are Weird. We took a vote, and Humans Are Weird, Let's Work It Out are the 3 comedy short story books available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo by Rakuten, Google Play. There's even some copies at Powell's Books, the famous used bookstore in Portland, Oregon. Dying Embers, dragons, aliens, and things that go boom in the night, and soon Flying Sparks. More dramatic, traditional science fiction novels are also available at Amazon. Flying Sparks is still on the pre-order page. If you want a copy, you can email me by contacting the website to pre-order yourself a copy. It's still being edited. So check out the links below the video to get yourself a copy of some wonderful science fiction.